How's it going, guys? My name is Doe and I hope you're doing good. And before the video actually starts, I wanted to do an assumptions video. So if you want to be in that, then go into my channel, go to the community tab and leave an assumptions on the assumptions post. That's what's going to be going down and it should be pretty fun. It should be interesting. I saw a lot of folks doing it and I figured I could go ahead and try it as well. Why not? And other than that, make sure to leave a like on the video because some of y'all have been slacking and it's just getting a little ridiculous. So I'm gonna go ahead and say slay the like button. I'd say smash it, I'd say slap it, but everybody else saying that and it ain't very unique. So slay the like button. Alright? Thank you. Enjoy the video. If you're in search of a build to stun like behemoths and, I don't know, generally break the game, well, I think we have that in stock. You're just in luck. The hammer is freaking crazy. And with the build I'll be showing you all today, I'm able to stun lock these behemoths and it doesn't seem balanced. Like, it is just not okay how that works out. I'm not sure how crazy it is with the strikers, but the hammer is beyond redemption in just its insanity. And speaking of that, to get into the build, the weapon we're using is the Umbral legendary weapon from Thrax called Sanity Check, which is something we need after using this build because it's ridiculous. It gets like you're doing some freaking turbo thick damage. So Sanity Check, Umbral legendary weapon. For all legendary weapons you get prismatic slots, and the ability for this weapon, which I might make like a little freaking short reel for showing footage of that for a different video just because it's cool. I like it. The modifier and special I'm using, well, special I'm using is wait, I'm scuffed. That's a lie. That's a lie. Mighty Landbreaker, which is the damage version of the Ironheart Landbreaker, which I'm not using, but Mighty Landbreaker, you hold to load ammo into the hammer, release to create an Aether Vent that buffs players who step over it, granting them up to 35% damage based on ammo quality. Mod is Extended Clip. This is the best mod, hands down. Ammo increase to 6. That is huge. It's just more damage from doing your primes. It's more damage from doing your Aether Slams since there's more shells. That's what I meant to say. So that's the nice part. It's also a quality of life thing too because you have more Aether Shells in general, so you're not having to give out ammo to your teammates and not have any left to spend for damage. So it's a really good modifier for the hammer. The best one, hands down. The bond I'm using, which as per usual, you have bonds for legendary weapons, using the Stalker's Price. So on chance, after dealing damage, generate Shadow Orbs and grant 2.25% damage for 5 seconds. At 5+ orbs, the bonus doubles. Max stacks for this is 8 orbs at the moment. That was there's like a stack limit created a while back because before you could get like 30 or 40 stacks. That was not intended, but since then they capped it. And the other bond is the Shroud one, which is just not as good because you have to be 20% health or lower to get 50% damage flat, like just all the time, but getting that low is not ideal in so many situations. Now the cell or the stat on the weapon is going to be Wild Frenzy for the Stalker Price bond or Rift Stalker bond. Very nice, amazing bond, or amazing stat and bond for low life builds. Like that's why Rift Stalker weapons are so strong right now, is because you can actually make use of Wild Frenzy with Discipline. It's just so good. But for the armor, I've got the Reza Helmet, Light's Crown, Dark Maul chest piece from Shroud, Torgadora's Brawn from Torgadoro, Stride of Thorns feet from Koshai, and this just gives me really great slots all around, a technique, 2 power, and utility slot in that order, and the stats on the gears also really just favorable as well. And I should mention this is a flawless build. I will be leaving a build that has Iceborne in the description, or I might just make one. Nah, I'll probably just leave it in the description. That's probably faster. The lantern is the Drask Lantern, of course. That's what I always use. You could use Embermane. I just feel that the attack speed gets a little wumbo for me, a little too wumbus. I'm not really a fan of going too crazy in the paint. Not to that degree. The potions, for the hammer, if you want to stagger lock behemoths, what I suggest doing is running Assault Tonic, Blitz Tonic, Frenzy Tonic. And again, potions don't have to be used in general hunts. Well, not again in this video, but again just in general. Potions don't need to be used in general hunts, but they are fun and they do make things get a little bit more spicy, you know? It makes the content a little bit more crazy, and that's why they're fun. They are helpful in things like trials and whatnot, but in most other scenarios you don't really need it unless you're progressing But in my case, I do it because you get crazy and you just get crazy with it, and that's fun. But Assault Tonic, which is 40% increased stagger damage dealt for 60 seconds. Blitz Tonic, 10 to 30% more attack speed. If you're using Discipline, it's going to be around 19 to 20% extra attack speed since you're half health. Frenzy Tonic is you get 15% increased damage dealt, and once a Behemoth enrages, it's an extra 15%. So, pretty good potions all around, I tell you what. And with all that said and done, the Perk Summary is +6 Catalyst, which is, again, 60% effectiveness to your tonics and 60% tonic duration, both being increased. I say that so weird every time. 60% increased tonic effectiveness and duration. That's better. It's going to make your potions crazier. It's going to make your stagger tonic or your assault tonics even better, which is what really helps out in making the hammer stagger lock behemoths. It's absurd. I'll talk about that in a second though. Overpower, more damage versus stagger behemoths. Staggers occur in 4 different ways, from part breaks to interrupts to damage thresholds to shock procs. Those will all trigger overpower. Predator, more damage for not getting hit. On the hammer, this is pretty difficult to maintain if you're new to the weapon, which is why I'll be making a Iceborne build that doesn't have Predator for players that want to use that, because it is difficult to not get hit on the hammer. Like, you have so much commitment on your attacks, so it can be a little wild. Rage, when under a certain health threshold, you get more damage. That is active by Discipline, which we have in the build as well. Wild Frenzy, +6. Normally, you don't need to have +6 Wild Frenzy on weapons, but for the axe and the hammer, it's nice to have. If you want to, you could swap out +6 Wild Frenzy for +3 Berserker and +3 Wild Frenzy, and that's because in this build, if you're stagger locking behemoths the whole time, they won't be moving, and that actually makes Berserker pretty good. So it is an option to have with this build. It might be pretty viable. It depends on what you want to do. I kind of prefer having the extra attack speed, but I'll mess around with both. You know, it just depends on the behemoth. It depends on what I'm fighting. I have +3 Conduit. If you're in a group and your teammates are in Conduit and you trust them to actually use their freaking hold the cast, because sometimes you have teammates that have +6 Conduit, but they don't know where their freaking lantern button is, so they never use it, and that gets tilting. But in any case, if you're using +3 Conduit, it can overwrite +6 Conduit, making it not as useful, right? So I suggest swapping that for Aetheric Attunement if you can. That's what I would do. If you're in a group, that is. And then lastly, we have Discipline. This cell makes it so you're at half health. It also gives you some crit chance, which, you know, who doesn't like crit chance? It's kind of wild. So that is the build, and this is absolutely absurd. Like, you're stagger locking behemoths. They cannot move as long as you're doing a couple things correctly. So to play this build correctly, what you want to do is make sure you're priming some hits on the face, not all your hits, but I normally just prime 2 hits. It depends on the size of the behemoth, and it also depends on how close they are to getting a stagger. All those things matter. But the goal is to have your potions popped if you're using Catalyst, which if you don't want to use Catalyst, you can swap it out for Conduit. That is completely fine and a great way to not waste potions if you're not trying to do that. So it's pretty nice that you have that sort of modularity. And again, I'll probably leave another build in the description where you don't have +6 Conduit and like Aetheric Attunement or something weird like that. I'll do that as well. But it is very important you prime for the head, and you just hit the head in general, because as a blunt weapon, you deal extra stagger damage to the heads of behemoths. That is important to understand. And there is a modifier you can take called Weighted Crown, where it no longer cuts your stagger damage in half when you're hitting the behemoth limbs. That is good in things like Blaze Escalation, but other than that, your best modifier is going to be Extended Clip, like mentioned earlier. But that is the build, y'all. This is a lot of fun. I had fun playing it, which is why I want to make the video, because I enjoy making builds for weapons that are fun to play, and when the builds are fun to play as well. So expect some more builds with Thrax weapons. I'll mention quickly that the axe build for this weapon is the exact same as the one for this weapon currently. The striker build would be pretty similar as well. I might still make videos on those, but it might just be a bit more gameplay oriented. We'll see what goes down. I want to say thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for content. That helps out immensely. Leaving a like and commenting is very freaking helpful. I appreciate the folks doing that. If you guys want to support the channel, use my Epic Games support or creator code in the Epic Games store and the in-game Dauntless store. It's just OhDough, it's my name. That helps out as well. And check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/OhDough. I cannot speak today. And if you want my in-game flair, subscribe there. People like it. And that's all, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.